Unit 7, Radical Functions. Part 1 is Characteristics of Radical Functions, and here are the TEK numbers for Algebra 2 with A2, and then Algebra 1 with just A. Part 2 is Literal and Inverse Functions. Part 3 is Simplify Radical Expressions, and Part 4 is Solving Radical Equations and Inequalities. If you look below, here is a calendar with the topics that you do on each day and what you should be turning in. So when you're watching this video, you should be either beginning Unit 7 and taking the pre-assessment, or we're on 7A, which is Characteristics of Radical Functions, and you would do the 7A Notes and Practice either in this packet or with the worksheet foldable, depending on your class period. The remediation assignment on EDIA can be found with this QR code on your paper. It's over questions from Chapter 6 in the textbook. Here are your warm-up boxes. Each day that we do a warm-up, you write the stuff inside the box and then get the stamp for that day, and only that day. If you are absent, you still need to write the stuff in the box, and then in the stamp box you put the reason why you were not there, or the reason why you just didn't get a stamp. If you look at the back side of this first page, there's the transformation rules for functions. It's the same one as all the other functions we've done this year. We have vertical translations, up and down. And then we have horizontal translations, left and right. We have reflection across the x-axis, reflection across the y-axis, which when you're dealing with radical functions, this will actually matter. And then we have vertical stretches and horizontal stretches. So the two radical functions that we'll look at is the cube root function and the square root function. And here are their characteristics of the parent functions of each of these. So the function right here is f of x equals the cube root of x. The center point, h comma k, is 0, 0. It doesn't have an axis of symmetry, it doesn't have a max or a min for the extrema, and there's no vertex. Domain and range for cube root functions and cubic functions is all real numbers. So if you look for the domain on the left side, it goes left forever, negative infinity. If you look at the right, it goes right forever, positive infinity. And then if you look at the range, it's going to go up forever and down forever. All real numbers. The x-intercept is at 0, 0. The y-intercept is also 0, 0. There are no asymptotes until we get to rational functions and exponential and logarithmic functions, which will be in later units this year. And then the inverse function, f inverse of x, is the cubic function, x cubed. Here's the square root function. We have f of x equals the square root of x. H is 0, k is 0 right here. That's your starting point. There's no axis of symmetry, no extrema, no vertex. And then the domain, you're going to take this number right here, and then it keeps going to infinity. So basically we're going to take it from h to infinity if it's facing this way. Now, if it was backwards, it was facing the other way, it would be from negative infinity to h, whatever h is, the starting point here. Now for the range, the lowest number here is 0, and it just keeps going up forever. So that would be from k to infinity if it was pointing up. Now if it was pointing down, That would be from negative infinity to k. The x-intercept's at 0, 0, y-intercept's at 0, 0. There's no asymptotes. And then the inverse function is f inverse of x equals x squared. Let's also talk about parts of a radical expression. So this n right here, is the index. If there's nothing there, you assume it's a 2. Like the square root, n would be 2. A is this whole thing right here is the radicand. We have a base of a, and then our power is m. After you've analyzed this page and the quadratic formula here, go ahead and move on to note 7a, characteristics of radical functions.